Okay, we got Frank and Angie from Discover Cuenca, Ecuador and Discover Quito Ecuador.com, and we're going to interview David and Bill today. They've newly arrived to Cuenca, Ecuador, and they want to explain the experience they had through the Quito airport, which is important right now. Everybody wants to know what's going on with the new Quito airport. And what's going on at the Quito airport? What happened when you
upon my arrival, the airport is extremely nice. It's a new airport. It's been in business, been open probably less than 2 weeks, and the logistical problems undoubtedly have not been ironed out. There were 3 airplanes landing at the same time after 11 o'clock at night. Customs and Immigration receiving the passengers were overwhelmed. I didn't get out of the airport to get on the shuttle to go to Quito until nearly 1 o'clock in the morning after arriving after 11 o'clock.
So you got in late and you had to wait in
lines,
immigration lines for 2 hours at a brand new airport.
Yes, half the booths that were built there were unstaffed, unmanned, and it was an extremely slow process.
Okay, and then it's at 1 a.m., which is a pretty,
that's late,
challenging hour for anyone, and for most people anyhow. And you had to take a shuttle bus
to Quito, to the old airport.
To the old airport.
And then you find a taxi driver around 2 o'clock in the morning there, and hope they can speak English. Mine did, fortunately. Took me to a hostel. The next day at 10:30 I left and went back to the old airport. Took the shuttle back to Quito. It's about a 30-mile drive, but through winding roads. They're not roads like we're used to in the States.
Okay. And are they mountainous?
They're very mountainous.
Mountainous and windy.
Yes.
So
we went over a gorge that dropped over 1,000 feet. And
which is fine during the day, but I could see at night it might be.
At night it's kind of spooky.
After a long day, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., boy, that's quite an experience.
Yes, it is.
What kind of an impression did that make on you?
Well, it was we were off to a bad start. And then I got back to the Quito airport. Waited from 1 o'clock, checked in at 4, went through the boarding gates, got my boarding pass, went through security, and waited at my gate. Unfortunately, all the announcements were in Spanish, which is great, but I don't speak fluent Spanish. And with the echo and reverberation throughout the airport, which we're all used to, in a foreign language, it's kind of difficult to ascertain everything they say.
So when you got in at night, also, was that a challenge with the Spanish?
Not really. I ran into a fellow American on the plane, and he sort of shepherded me through there, so I was very fortunate.
That's good.
In that respect.
But when you went back,
the
next day,
I was in a stranger in a strange land.
Okay. So it was very challenging.
It was very challenging.
Is the airport confusing? Is it really large? Or?
It's large. It's not as confusing as, say, Atlanta Airport.
Right.
That wasn't the problem. The problem was the language barrier. Even the bathrooms there are marked in Spanish and English. And sure, Spanish is their first language, but English is the international business language, and it's an international airport, and a lot of English speakers that don't speak Spanish and don't have English for a native tongue speak English anywhere, can understand it.
So you had difficulty maybe when you went to the counter and trying to explain?
Well, what happened, I missed my flight to Cuenca on Monday.
Now, was this, wait a second, was this because it took so long to get to the airport?
No, it was because of...
well, you don't have to say if you don't want.
I made a detour to the bathroom, and the plane left 20 minutes early without me.
Oh, 20 minutes early?
And they never announced me, my name. And the only thing I got was...
Gone.
The plane is gone.
Sign language.
That's right, sign language. and anyway, I had the experience of spending the night in the Quito airport all night long. And
oh my gosh, what was that like?
It was interesting. I got to watch the cleaning crews and listen to children scream all night. And
now, the reason you were stuck in the Quito airport is when you got there the first night, you did travel to Quito.
Yes.
And that took what on the shuttle bus? About an hour?
A little over an hour.
Okay, and then and that takes you to the old airport.
To the old
and
airport.
then from the old airport you took a cab.
Yes.
And went to your hostel.
Yes.
Okay, so the next day when you went back to the new airport to catch your flight, right?
Correct.
That you missed the flight, and that
Yes.
was the day you spent the night in the
That is
airport?
correct.
Okay. So now was that because you didn't have arrangements or didn't feel like traveling again 3 hours back and forth, or?
No, it was due to a language barrier. Strictly due to a language barrier.
Okay, so what were you, I mean, you were trying to ask what, they didn't have a shuttle during the day? Or?
No, I mean, I was at the airport.
Yeah.
And I was at the gate.
Okay, so you were trying to catch the next flight, maybe?
Yes, I was trying to connect the 5:15 flight. Boarding time on my ticket, 5:15. Flight was at 5:45. They get you to board half an hour before. I had time to run to the bathroom, run back out, and the gate, everyone was gone.
Okay, so long story short, one thing led to another.
Correct.
With all the frustrations with the language and all that.
Yes.
You just missed 2 flights and you had to spend the night?
Yes, and I thought all that night, I wish I'd paid more attention to Spanish classes in high school.
Well, I'm sorry you had such a difficult time, but you know, people need to know this because they want to know what to expect when they're doing something new, something maybe they've never done before.
Right.
And you're right, you know, language difficulties and challenges are a reality. You're coming to a Spanish country, and,
that's right.
But you know, people may expect that they're coming to an international airport like Quito, and they might think that there's English speaking behind the counter, and hopefully they will fix that in the near future.
I hope so. I hope so for the next load of tourists that comes through, or people looking to relocate.
Right.
This is a wonderful, wonderful city. I'm very blessed to be here and very thankful to be here after my experience
Absolutely.
at the airport.
Absolutely. Well, nowhere to go but up from here.